Help me, my computer's running really slow is a really common complaint that you get working in IT support and IT services. It's must be one of the number one kind of support related calls. It's really, really common, and it can be for a number of reasons. It can be to do with hardware, which we'll get into shortly. It can be to do with software. It could be something going on your network. Now, there could be all sorts that it might be. But today I just wanted to talk about a really kind of quick and relatively cheap way of speeding up an older, slow computer. And that would be by changing what's called the hard drive inside your computer. All the hard drive is, it's where normally, most commonly, where your operating system lives, normally Windows, and all of your data. It's normally on what's called a mechanical hard drive. Stick with me here. I know we're getting a little bit techie, but it's normally on what's called a standard mechanical hard drive. It has physical moving parts, and therefore it can be broken. Look upon it almost like an old record player, which spins the vinyl round and has a needle which reads the vinyl. It's a little bit like that. It has that kind of mechanism inside it where it uses a spindle and reads from it and writes back to it. Mechanical hard drives, over the years, the reason they've been used is because they are cheap. You get lots of storage for not a lot of money. So it's great from that perspective, but they are susceptible to failure as well because it is mechanical parts. It's like the engine in your car. It has moving parts, and therefore it has potential to break, unfortunately. And a mechanical hard drive as well, you are limited by the speed of what it can read and write from during that process of getting the information off the disk. Now, one really easy way to speed up a slow computer would be to replace that old physical mechanical hard drive. I do have one here, actually. This is a traditional mechanical hard drive, quite large in size. You do get smaller ones for laptops as well. This is out of a desktop computer, but that is a mechanical hard drive physical unit, which has a big, almost like I said, almost like a spindle inside here, which reads and writes from. But a much quicker type of hard drive, which will therefore speed up your computer, is something called a solid state drive, or SSD. They do come in a couple of different forms. This is one type of one. Less common at the moment, but getting more common. That's what's called an M2 SSD. The most common type around at the moment is almost like a smaller version of what I just showed you, the mechanical hard drive. It's almost like a smaller version of that, but there's no moving parts to this. This is so thin and light because there's really not much to it at all. There's no moving parts in this. What that means is basically it's less susceptible to failure. Doesn't mean it will never fail. It just means it's less susceptible to failure over the mechanical drive. But importantly, it is so much quicker than a mechanical hard drive. The benefits it can give you, quite simply, is if you've got one of these computers where you turn it on and you go make a cup of tea and go and have a chat with somebody in the office, then come back to your computer 10 minutes later in the hope it's finished starting up, it can significantly reduce that boot time. Making figures up here, but I wouldn't be surprised if you've got something which takes a few minutes to start up, a mechanical hard drive based system. If you replace that with an SSD, I wouldn't be at all surprised if it fully boots up, ready for you to log in and use in less than a minute. That's how much quicker they are. So the time saving is really, really significant. And then overall, when you're using the system, it is much more responsive. So it's as simple as, if I've got a mechanical hard drive in an older computer and I'm clicking on applications, clicking on icons, the response might be hesitant and might be delayed. But that same system with an SSD hard drive in it, when I'm clicking, the response is instant, almost instant. It's so much quicker, really noticeably quicker. The cost of SSDs has really come down in recent years. So before, a few years ago, they were quite expensive. So you were like, ooh and ahhing, shall I do it, shall I not? But now, for something like, which is perhaps 240 gigabytes inside it, or even 500 gigabyte capacity, which is ample for most users and should be more than ample for most business users. That would suffice, and they don't cost a huge amount of money. They can be had, ballpark figure here, 50 quid-ish maybe. So we're not talking super expensive at all here. And it's certainly cheaper than replacing your entire computer, which would no doubt cost you a few £100s. So if you have an older system where the rest of the spec of it is okay, and you are running up-to-date software, for example, Windows 10, actually just putting an SSD hard drive on it could give it a new lease of life, could give you a few more years out of the computer, and away you go. If you have the right tools, what you can do is what's called an image of your old drive. So you take almost like a full backup of this, and you transfer it onto your new drive, the solid state drive, and away you go again. So you've got the same environment, the same logon, all of your applications ready to use, all of your files. Nothing's changed when you look at it and use it. It's just the fact you've transferred across to another drive. There's lots of tools out there to help you do that, disk imaging tools. Some of them are a little techie, a little tricky. Some of them are quite easy. It's worth investigating though, and checking them out and seeing if you can get your head around it. And if not, there's plenty of support and help out there should you need it anyway. So yeah, a quick, easy and relatively cheap way to give a new lease of life to an older, slower computer. Get an SSD hard drive. It's such a quick and easy thing to do to give you a really good boost. So that's it for today. Don't forget to like the video if it's been helpful. Please subscribe to our channel. We're building up a very small portfolio of videos at this stage. Please do check them out. And below this video, if you're watching on YouTube, there is all our links to Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So feel free to check them out. Thanks very much.